So every weekend, I would catch the Friday night Baroda Express so that I could sleep there and save money in the hotel.
If you know photocopy के लिए Xerox होता है, तो you know homeopathy के लिए Dr. Batra है.
My mother used to kind of recite this: life is an echo, all comes back, the good, the false, the true. So give the world the best you have, and the best will come back to you. Then I started giving free consultation to people on the internet because I couldn't charge. And then in 1 year, I saw 475,000 patients in a year from all over the world. And that became a world record. Well, I actually worked with 2 scientists who were database people, and then I actually made a software. It was the first electronic medical software in the world, among the world. Chal ke tujhe main leke chalu ek aise gagan ke tale.
That you began your first clinic with just 20,000 and a loan of that had 36% interest on it. Who pays 36% interest?
This fool sitting across you.
Hello and welcome to the PVT Show Podcast. I am your host, Poonam Vijay Thakkar. On this show, I bring to you conversations with leading authors and top leaders who energize the mind, challenge the norms, and awaken a purpose. It's all about conscious growth with one powerful book and one powerful story at a time. What drives a man to risk everything for a dream the world refuses to believe in? With just rupees 20,000 in hand and a crushing loan at the rate of 36% interest, he opened a small homeopathy clinic in Mumbai. Few believed it would survive, but he imagined it would one day become the massive brand Dr. Batra's. One of India's largest and most recognized homeopathy healthcare brands, the world then noticed. 2012, the government of India honored him with Padma Shri, one of the nation's most prestigious civilian awards for the pioneering service to the field of medicine. And beyond the clinics, you all know who I'm talking about. Dr. Mukesh Batra is deeply spiritual, a passionate photographer, a singer, and the author of several books. And the one that I'm holding in my hands is the latest one which is out. A man whose entire journey carries one intent: to help others. So if you're looking for inspiration to take very bold steps in your business, courage to walk the unbeaten path, and a proof that healing can be both science and soul, then look no further. This story is bound to move you. Let's meet the man himself.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mukesh Batra, and you're watching me on the PVT Show.
Welcome, sir. Welcome to the PVT Show Podcast.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Cheers. I'm eagerly looking forward to this conversation with you.
Thank you very much. So am I. And thank you for having me over.
My pleasure. Absolutely. And in fact, thanks a lot. You have really traveled a lot to be here in the studio. So I'm honored to
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Doing this conversation. And congratulations on it. You've written so many books. I was like confused. Your team reached out and said, tuck. I said, okay, now let me take the book that I feel that is something that we can really talk and can impact is a word, impact and help and support the younger generation. So the whole idea of this conversation is going to be around that. But since you are young at heart, let us begin with some history of yours. Excited? I want to caution you about one thing. This conversation is not going to be what you have been doing.
I mean, you're most welcome. I'm just happy to answer whatever you want.
Sure.
And I'm saying I have a history, I have a geography as well.
Oh, wow.
So,
please.
so because I was born in Lucknow and then I came, many years earlier to do my high school and camping school in Bombay.
Okay.
And then I've lived ever since. So now I'm Mumbaikar.
Wonderful.
But I was born in UP and I was brought up by my grandparents. And I then moved over there when my father moved here, from Lucknow.
Yeah.
So it's been a long journey. And,
right.
I very much, I'm very, very happy to be in Mumbai now. Like I said, I travel all over the world, but I'm still a Mumbaikar at heart.
Oh, yeah. Once a Mumbaikar, then
always a Mumbaikar.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And this also explains that, you know what, internet has a title for you. Are you aware of that?
I'm not aware at all.
Okay.
Tell me.
You are known as Shah Rukh Khan of homeopathy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you are.
Shah Rukh Khan won't be happy with that one, I'm sure.
No, let him be happy with what he's doing. But this is the level of, and I actually want to reflect back on a little bit of history because I was also amazed. Dr. John Martin, homeopathy came into India in the 19th century. We're talking about 1830s.
Correct.
right? And John Martin treated Maharaja Ranjit Singh,
Correct.
The Pakistan area, which is now the Punjab area, which is now
Punjab,
a part of Pakistan. We are talking about 1830 and 1833 and 39 as a history, and then Dr. Mahendra Sircar, 1833.
Yes.
I could not find anyone else after Mahendra Sircar. If there is anybody on the internet, that is Dr. Batra. What have you done different?
Nothing really. I think, first of all, yes, the history is wonderful. As you said, homeopathy came into India by a Austrian doctor, and it came through the court of Maharaja Ranjit Singh because he had lost his voice and he had paralysis of the vocal cord. He could not speak and nobody could treat him. So somebody told him that there's a German doctor in Germany who practiced homeopathy and one of his followers is, from Vienna, and why don't you call him?
Okay.
So he then came to the court of Maharaja Ranjit Singh and he gave him the first homeopathic medicine in India, which cured his paralysis of the throat. And then he was asked not to go back. And that's how then that's the history of homeopathy, how it came to India. And yes, as you correctly said, that the first Indian doctor was Dr. Bose, who was from Kolkata.
Yeah.
Which is why also homeopathy is so popular in Kolkata. In every lane you have a pharmacy there. In every house they know homeopathy. And then of course the missionaries came and they spread it all over India. Because they had free clinics all over and they popularized it. Having said that, there was still a challenge. So when I graduated from medical school or college, as we say, I was only 22 years old. And perhaps I was one of the youngest doctors. So, reminds me of that, that kind of game show that we have, or the show that we have on television. The young doctor was very brilliant, on television. So, at 22, people wouldn't believe that I was a doctor.
Yeah, because usually it's like 28, 29. By the time you're 28, 29, you become a doctor.
Yeah, and I started practicing when I was 23 years old. And I actually had to wear specs, with zero power to make me feel look older so that people could start trusting me.
Take you seriously.
Because, and they still didn't, of course.
I have numbers, sir.
I tried it without any number and they still won't take me seriously. So it actually meant that, you have to do it like a missionary. You have to catch a lot of people, talk to them for hours, convince them about homeopathy with missionary zeal. And, like I say jokingly that at that time people believed that to practice homeopathy and to give white pills, you have to have gray hair. So you had to be old and you had to be experienced, So I think the first kind of thing that I broke, the myth that I broke, was that you could be young and enterprising and you could still be a good homeopath. The second thing was that I had to break the perception of homeopathy, because homeopathy was believed to be ancient, old, not scientific. People did not believe in it. Lag gaya to theek hai, nahi lage to, God help you.
Placebo.
So I have to change that concept as well. So that took some time, because to change the perception of people towards homeopathy is what was the challenge for me when I started out. And of course, the third challenge also was, that it's good for free, but if you have to pay for it, then you better go to another doctor. Because, nobody wanted to pay for homeopathy because, it was good for free clinics. People read books and then they started practicing. Now, of course, it's illegal. You can't read a book and start practicing. You need to go to a proper school and medical school, college, and do 5.5 years of a degree course. And then you need to do 3 years of MD. And then we have a tie-up with Mumbai University where we have a 1-year course, which is like a postgraduate course for in dermatology and cosmetology and now in oncology, which is cancer.
Which is also a part of homeopathy now?
Part of the whole treatment. So it's like now it's a 10-year course to become a doctor.
So you were fortunate,
but that time it was different, yeah. So much before my time, I managed to do that. But to change that perception that homeopathy is scientific, and actually works, took a long time. And those are the challenges that I had in the beginning. Now, of course, homeopathy is the second largest system of medicine in the world, according to World Health Organization. It's also the fastest growing. While pharma is growing at 10% every year, homeopathy is growing at 25% back to back.
I was amazed to know that number.
Yeah. So, well, it's been a long journey. Now I've spent 50 years in this profession. I don't look it. I mean, I'm much younger. Don't believe that.
So we will call you 18.
Yeah, but
18 at
thank
heart.
you.
That's all.
Thank you.
Nothing more.
Maybe when I'm 81, you can reverse it and then still call me 18. But thank you very much. So it's been 15 years in the profession and 50 years in the profession.
50, yeah.
And it's been a long time. And I think, I've managed to take homeopathy, to popularize it, to make people aware of it, not just in India, but all across the globe in many other countries as well.
Where do you see the acceptance when you started out of this field of medicine faster globally? Which country you saw? Because yours is one of the businesses that just spread very fast internationally also.
Not really. It was a very slow process. It always took time. I mean, that's just the perception that people have because they only see what's in the face. They don't see what is deep down inside. I'm saying it was always challenging, every country where we went. But I would say that out of all the countries that we've been in, the easiest was UK because, it was legalized there. It was easy to practice there. But then the laws of advertisement and marketing were very tough. So you could not popularize it in that sense. And a lot of, it was only a 6-month course there for local doctors to practice homeopathy.
Okay.
So it was versus the 5.5 years that we have here. So again, there were challenges over there. But we did well. We had 4 clinics over there. And I think we managed to get first, wherever we went, our first, kind of patient base was always the NRIs. It was Indians. I think we reminded them of home. And I think also because they knew of homeopathy, they knew of our brand in India. Their families lived here. They'd taken treatment from us, So it always started with the kind of the NRIs, the expats, as we call them.
Correct.
We started with that. And, I must say that they were a support system when we started. So even, people from other countries, neighboring countries over there, they were kind of, very, very receptive to homeopathy because they had experienced it somewhere or the other. So that's how it started. And then, of course, after some time, then the Gora started coming in as well. Then then the foreigners started coming in. Then like in UAE, then the Arabs started coming in as well. The local population started coming in. In Mauritius, the French started coming in, or the French-speaking people started coming in.
Yeah.
So I think ultimately it got global.
Correct.
But to start with, it was always a challenge.
That's the case with all. But what I'm amazed to know is that you built it like a corporate. Though it was medicine, I think what demarcates you and your strategy, it's one of the finest. I want to say this, I have been all my life a marketer, that if you know photocopy ke liye Xerox hota hai, to you know homeopathy ke liye Dr. Batra hai. I mean, it's just a brand that even a kid can say homeopathy or Dr. Batra. Feels like, so seems to be your brainchild.
Not at all, actually.
How did you plan making it a brand? There are so many homeopathic doctors, but they don't think like this.
Actually didn't plan to make it a brand. It just happened by accident, honestly speaking.
Every successful person says this. We want to know the secrets.
There are no secrets. It just happened by chance. And I actually believe that if you do something good in life, then something good always comes back. My mother used to kind of recite this, and I kind of try to remember it and come back to it a little later.
Sure.
Life is an echo, all comes back. Life is an echo, all comes back. The good, the false, the true. So give the world the best you have, and the best will come back to you. So I've always believed in that. And it's just the goodness that I did from my heart, from whatever I did. That's how then the brand evolved. And then, of course, it grew. Because we had prominent, positions everywhere. We were visible. The brand was visible in multiple cities as we grew. And yes, we did a bit of advertising. We did a bit of marketing as well, which kind of worked for us.
Right.
In the beginning, at least. And then people came to know us as well. So I think what really happened was my son was becoming a doctor and he was going to graduate to be a homeopath. And I didn't have any money to buy a property anywhere in Mumbai for him because, it required a lot of money and I didn't have that kind of money. So my brother was a builder in Bangalore and he said, why don't you come to Bangalore? And, then I wanted my son to be independent. I didn't want him to be under my, tutelage or under my care. Yeah. And I wanted him to have his own personality and to develop on his own. So I kind of took 1.5 years to actually fly every weekend to Bangalore and to open a clinic over there. And then, of course, my brother gave me, paying terms so that I could pay him in installments. And as luck would have it, it was like a 4-bedroom clinic, a full flat, which kind of got converted into a clinic. And Bangalore hadn't seen anything like that before. So it was, got accepted very, very easily. And then I started practicing 20 days in Bombay and 10 days in Bangalore.
Okay.
And then the Bangalore clinic started doing so well that ultimately now I think we have, 16, 18 branches in Bangalore.
Oh, wow.
So, so that's the story. And the same thing happened also, again, I had a young girl who was, a young doctor. And she came to me one day and she said, sir, I'm getting married, but my in-laws will not allow me to practice. And I'm getting married in Baroda, very typical, Gujarati family. So can you please open a clinic for your son? I'm like your daughter, open a clinic for me in Baroda. I said, okay, ask your husband to come and see me.
Yeah.
So he came and I said, are you sure that you're going to look after the clinic and you're going to allow your wife to work after marriage? He said, yes, sir, I promise. He had another farmer job somewhere else. Yes. I said, okay, I'll put in the money, I'll open a clinic. And then I remember that I didn't have money to stay in a hotel also. I opened the clinic. So every weekend, I would catch the Friday night Baroda Express so that I could sleep there and save money in the hotel. And then I would go to my clinic, have a shave, get ready, see patients on Saturday, Sunday. Sunday night, I would go to Express Hotel and have what was called an Express Thali, the vegetarian thali over there, Gujarati thali. Again, get back into the train. Again, sleep the night over there, come back at 5 in the morning at Bombay Central. Then go home, have a wash, get back to my clinic and start seeing patients. So I've actually had a multi-city practice. So I started like that. Now today, one of our highest revenue clinics is Baroda.
Oh, wow.
We now own a 3 or 4 story building over there. So, I'm saying all this happened by chance because, you do good and good comes back to you. I never expected that it's going to grow. And then like this, I had some other of my assistants who said, sir, आपने उसके लिए खोल दिया, अभी मेरे लिए भी क्यों नहीं खोला? So चलो ठीक है भाई, आपको हम दिल्ली खोल के दिल्ली में भेज देते हैं. So वहाँ पे शुरू किया. So like that, a lot of it happened in chance. Of course, once it got set and once, we started opening branches, then of course you had to put a business plan, then you had to institutionalize it. And then, I also believed, because I've, studied a lot of my friends, close friends who are medical doctors. And I realized that, medicine is something that you cannot pass on as legacy. There are so many famous doctors who after they pass away, you don't even remember them.
Correct.
Because it's so personalized. I mean, it's such a personalized kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I said, if I have to live on in my legacy, then I have to create a brand. And I have to create an institution that has to outlive me.
True.
And that's how then the thought started of setting up a company and institutionalizing it. And that took a lot of effort because I was still practicing every time. I was looking after a factory of products in the meantime. We had a Swiss collaboration. And then I would see patients. So I would actually see patients from 9 to 1, then again go back to my factory between 1 and 4, come back and see patients between 4 and 9 or 10. And then,
Hats off, sir.
Literally all the time. So then that's how the brand gets built. So it's not really any marketing secret. It's just hard work.
Yeah. All I can see is hard work.
Like people can see that, say that, luck plays a very important part. Yeah, but luck plays a very important part provided it sees you working at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Correct.
Then
just to see.
Then it works. Otherwise it doesn't. So you can't just presume that everything happened by luck. So you got to put in a lot of hard work, a lot of effort in getting to where it is. So that's really how then the brand story started, and that's how it happened. And similarly also, by accident, the product company came up because I was treating a lot of hair skin patients, and then I found that they're using chemical products and then that is affecting the treatment. So I said, if I want them to really get well, then I must start natural products. And so then we started, a small, shed in Thane. And then from there, today we have a proper factory in Palghar for the last many years.
We are manufacturing our own.
We have 125 SKUs, products of nutraceuticals, hair care,
125?
Skincare. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
All natural products. So that also came out of just from nowhere. It just came because there was a need. I felt that my patients needed it. And so I've always had the patient first philosophy. I always wanted that we should reach out to people in the right way, give them what they need. And then that's how the product company started. So I actually mean it when I say that my entire life has been accidental and it hasn't been planned. And I just go with the flow. And I do the same thing even now, that you just go with the flow, just, let God guide you. Wherever He takes you, just take. If you're a good person, it'll always work out for the best.
I agree.
That's
I agree. We will take the story back. You can please have a sip. We will take the story back to your formative growing up years. We started the story. You gave the story from 22. मुझे और पीछे जाना है.
ज़रूर.
So, mom, allopathic doctor. Were you torn between your parents? Is my question. And dad, homeopathic doctor. How did you choose?
So I just joke and say that I was a product of mixopathy.
Okay,
because
but still you chose one.
I was neither here nor there because both my parents, kind of mixed together.
Correct.
And, I chose it by accident again. Because at that time, a new college was opening and, the trustees would come to our house and say that, why don't you give your son? Because, we need good people from good families.
This was in Baroda?
No, this was in Bombay.
In Bombay.
This was in Bombay. I was brought up by my grandparents in Agra and Lucknow. In Agra, actually. So I lived there, till the 6th standard. And then I moved to Campion School in Bombay in the 7th standard. Then I've been here ever since. So when the new college was opening, a new medical homeopathy college, the trustees would come and say, in good families and say, why don't you practice homeopathy? So I went into it just for the fun of it, कि मेरे को कोई बुला रहा है. I mean, I've never had an invitation to join a college. You know, when you're worried about percentages and things like that.
Okay.
So I said, चलो ये तो बैठे बैठे मिल रहा है तो चलो चलते हूँ. And I went there. And then unfortunately, the principal of that college turned out to be my father.
Okay.
Now
this explains.
Because he was an academician and he was the principal of the Lucknow college. He got transferred over there. So that actually also was very difficult for me because I mean I couldn't date girls because my father would look out from his window and see.
He will have his eyes on
he'll
you.
say what's happening there. So it was not such an easy thing, but it was still
What about
fun.
marks? Marks were easy or no?
So marks were actually.
Was it difficult as a dad?
No, he was the principal. So he had nothing to do with him. I mean, he taught me 1 or 2 subjects as well, homeopathic subjects, but he was not my examiner. Exams were conducted by the university. So those people were totally different and they had nothing to do with the college.
Okay.
But all my teachers were good. And then I got interested in homeopathy actually because I was the general secretary of the college and I had my annual day. And I suddenly developed some 28 warts on my face. And I didn't know. Suddenly, yeah.
Okay.
Like it's a viral infection. So my whole face was covered with warts.
Okay.
And can you imagine going on stage on my annual day
with
and I'm the guy and with my face like that. And then, actually my father suggested that I should take one homeopathic medicine. And I took it. And in the next morning, not immediately, but after a few days, I was just washing my face with a towel. And all 28 came off in the towel except for one. 27 came off in the towel. Just like that. No surgery, no nothing. And I only had one wart which was stuck over here for some time. Then I took another rose and it fell off. But I used to joke and say, this is my swear wart. I can swear by it, it'll never fall off. So I can tell lies and get away with it, But then then that happened. So the moment that happened,
Oh,
I
really?
think that happened somewhere in my first year. So after the first year when it happened, I got very serious about medicine. I got very serious about homeopathy. And then I actually started studying homeopathy very seriously. I started actually doing round the clock. I used to go to Cooper Hospital over there, see patients over there, conduct deliveries, do mini surgeries, all of that. Then come back and attend all classes. And at some stage, I then moved to a hostel nearby. And then I started teaching people who were senior to me as well. So because that was my passion. And the interesting part is this, that, I actually graduated from 2 separate universities. So, I also wanted to do psychology. So I did medicine from Mumbai University. That time it was not part of the university, but Mumbai University.
Mumbai University, yeah.
And because our exams were after 18 months, because we had anatomy, physiology, all of that. So exams after 18 months. So after 1 year in between, I appeared for BA from Pune University.
Okay.
With clinical psychology. So I've done clinical psychology, I've done cultural anthropology, I've done sociology, I've done economics, and I've self-read all of it. I had no teachers and I had nobody to guide me. So I just read from books, locked myself into a room in 45 degrees temperature over there, in a hostel again. I used to have some 5 baths in a day, just go down and have thandai from the Tele wala. वो चिल्लाता था, घंटी बजाता था, तो हम नीचे जाके उसकी ठंडाई पीते थे to keep no air conditioning, no nothing. But I did it. And then ultimately, I did my psychology and graduated from Pune University after I got married and after my medicine. But that was it. So
you wanted to study because you wanted to get better at it? Or you just wanted to study?
No, I wanted to study not because I hated studying. Nobody likes studying.
Yeah, who likes studying?
Nobody likes formal study anyway.
Yeah.
I'm saying I love practicals. I love being by the bedside of patients. I like to go to the hospital. I like to do surgery. All that was great. Suddenly, I didn't want to read books. And the books are like...
Yeah,
they're so
medicinal
thick.
books could be very daunting.
Yeah, it's terrible. I mean, the only thing that's worse than that is legal books because they are so thick as well.
I'm currently I'm pursuing my LLB and I know how
really?
books can be very daunting.
Oh my God.
I've taken a very big challenge on my own self.
Congratulations, you're brave.
Thank you.
Yeah. But I was brave when I was young.
Yeah.
And so I did that. I also did that because I actually believed that a lot of diseases, even at that time, and I'm talking about, 40, 50 years ago, have to do with the mind. I actually believe that unless you understand a patient from the mind, you cannot cure him. And therefore I said I must learn psychology because I need to understand what the patient stands for. I need to understand what is the trauma that the patient has. Maybe it's a childhood trauma. Today everything is psychosomatic.
Correct.
So maybe something in the psyche, something that's happened in childhood, something that kind of went into your mind, stuck over there, we didn't go well. Today it is giving you a backache. Today it is giving you joint pains. Today it is giving you a migraine. So it's not something that has happened in the recent past. It can also be something accumulated emotions, frustration, within you. So I recognized that at that time. At that time, it was a much better, happier world. Not like how it is today with stress and tension. So I did that, and then that actually helped me in my practice as well, because then I got to know people better. I understood how to treat them psychologically as well. And homeopathy, anyways, holistic medicine is mind and body together. So it's a mixture of psychosomatic, mind and body together. So it helped me in my practice a lot, and it allowed me to treat my patients better.
I was amazed to see one number that in India, more than 80% people in India, in some time or the other, in their entire lifetime, they have taken homeopathic medicine. 80% is some number to be quoted for homeopathic medicine.
So, it's the largest base of people, I think about 5 crores in India who practice homeopathy.
Who practice homeopathy?
No, sorry, not practice, who've taken homeopathy at some stage.
Yeah.
Practice is about 300,000. So there are 3 lakh doctors in India, which is the largest number in the world. In the world. The highest number of patients also is 4 crores. But the largest market is France. Because here it's a personalized practice. While in France it's OTC, it's across the counter, over the counter.
Okay.
So the products sell very well in Europe, but the treatments don't. Because doctors are very few.
Doctors are very few.
Very few, very expensive. Here is the other way around. Here there are many doctors, treatments are okay, and the products are not available. There's not a proper distribution system across where you can go to any pharmacy and just buy a homeopathic product off the shelf. I'm talking about an OTC product. Like for example...
is there an opportunity for youngsters to be taking this profession and becoming homeopathic doctors if there is so much of need?
There is.
I mean, US needs our techies. Why not France need our doctors, as you said?
Of course, they need, but there the laws are different. In Europe, for example, you have to do MD medicine and then practice homeopathy. And they've changed the law. In London, that's not true because London is not part of they moved out of Brexit. So they have different laws. So UK has different laws, luckily. So they continue with allowing homeopathy to practice because the royal family has supported homeopathy for many, many, many years. I'm saying the Queen Mother used to carry a black box of homeopathic medicine wherever she went for her joint pains. Queen Elizabeth took, Prince Charles, King Charles, is now a big, finally he's right, a big proponent of homeopathy as well.
Okay.
There's a Royal Homeopathic London Hospital for a long time. There's a pharmacy which has got the Queen's insignia on it. So it's pretty popular there.
Have you managed to deal with skeptics more, or let me rephrase it, not say manage, in your entire long career of, we're talking about 50, 60 years, skeptics more, or patients having the feeling of getting rightful, treatment more? What have
So I would say both.
Okay.
I would say both. Because people who believe in homeopathy very, very strongly.
Okay.
And a lot of it is familial. So it runs in families. So there are actually homeopathic families. The grandfather, the father, the daughter, everybody else, they all take homeopathic medicine. It's like a generational thing.
Yeah.
So there are generations of homeopathic, patients who love homeopathy. And it's not necessarily that it continues because somewhere in the present generation, some of them break away.
Correct.
They say, no, we want to go to something else, which is quicker and faster and all that. But having said that, when I started practice, a lot of them were skeptics. Okay, obviously they didn't believe in homeopathy. But let me just say that every skeptic who was there ultimately became a die-hard follower.
Oh.
So what happens is that the people who convert, the conversion is so strong.
They then become spokespeople.
Then they become spokespeople. They become ambassadors. So a person who's kind of anti something, and then he becomes so pro because then he says, my God, what did I think and what it actually is? And I thought it wrong. And it's benefited me so much. So at the time I remember when I used to practice in Bangalore, 20% of our practice in Bangalore city, which is like a lot it was.
Yeah.
We used to see some 325 patients every day.
Every single day?
Every day in Bangalore.
How many? 325?
Yeah, in one clinic. I mean, I used to see it with 2 assistants.
What is the largest number of patients you have seen in a day?
Probably 375 or something like that, around that much. So 325 patients I used to see every day, and
can't even imagine 325 people alone. You're starting at 9 in the morning,
with
of
two
course.
Doctors, with two doctors, two assistants.
But they would want to see you ultimately.
Yeah, for a little bit, yeah.
1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Yeah. I would advise the medicine basically, and then the rest they would do the examination, everything else.
Yeah. Wow.
So when I was practicing in Bangalore, then like I said, after a couple of years, 20% of our practice was medical doctors or their families.
You mean allopathic doctors?
Yes. Dentists, doctors, nurses. I mean, even in London, a lot of nurses have been trained by me in homeopathy. 20% of our patients in Bangalore were medical doctors or their families. So what started as something which people not believing in, ultimately we had a lot of belief over there. And the same thing happens in every country, in every city where I went. Because medicine is so personalized. When I went to a new city, for example, to practice, it was very difficult. You know what people told me? ठीक है, मुंबई में तो आपने बहुत पेशेंट देखे होंगे, पर दिल्ली में आपने किसको ठीक किया? You want to set up those brand ambassadors. Yeah, they say, we want to know how many people you cure in my city. In your city, we don't know. And the same thing they did in country. Maybe in India, you're very well known, but London, nobody knows you.
Is it because it takes a little longer time for a person to get cured? Gestation period is more. Like I take medicine and then it will heal me.
No.
Why the faith on allopathic is so fast?
A flat no. A flat no, because homeopathy takes only long time because of chronic problems. If you have an acute problem, which is like an immediate problem, like a cold, cough, bad stomach, whatever, it gets sorted out immediately, faster than any allopathic medicine and with no side effects. So that's how it is. But the problem is most people come to homeopathy for chronic problems. So you'll come to homeopathy for psoriasis, for arthritis, for, autoimmune disorders and things, or, anxiety, depression. So these kind of things which are there always take a long time.
And I have heard doctors telling...
And then the other thing that I'd like to mention here also is that it's a perception. For example, if you have a skin problem, so you're using an ointment on your skin,
correct,
and it disappears. It never disappears, it just goes down. The moment you stop using it, it comes back again. You're not treating it from the root. With homeopathy, you're treating it from the root. You're looking at the psychosomatic, you're looking at the emotional problem, you're looking at maybe you're under stress, and you're giving a medicine according to that. So when it is like that, then it takes a little more time. So when you're treating from the root a chronic problem, it takes time because you're killing it from the root. You're making it all right and you're kind of making it permanent. I'm saying nothing in life is permanent, not even life itself.
Oh, yeah.
But still, but as much as we can have.
The permanence in the impermanent world that we live in.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. Nothing is permanent. So everything is for the moment and everything is momentarily. But that's how it is. So that's a myth actually, so homeopathy actually works very well for acute, immediate problems. And it takes a little longer time because it treats from the root if it's a chronic problem.
So something like arthritis can also be completely... I have had people saying that doctors mentioning that you have to live with it. It cannot be eradicated. You are saying it can be eradicated, something like arthritis also?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying there are two kinds of arthritis, common kinds. There are many kinds actually, but I'm just talking about two common kinds. One is rheumatoid arthritis, which happens in young people, where there are deformities as well.
Correct.
That's an autoimmune disorder. Now that is something which can be corrected from the root, and the progression can be stopped. And in many cases, it can actually be reversed as well. So even when you do the blood test and all that, you'll find that now the patient is all right. That's one. The second one that you have is osteoarthritis. Now osteoarthritis happens because of old age, wear and tear. Normally happens in the knee joints. And then some people have to do a knee replacement. But in homeopathy, you can arrest it. And there are only two common things. See, number one is you have pain and stiffness. And the second thing, you have mobility issues.
Correct.
So you can't move fast. So with homeopathy, both these things can be sorted out. But osteoarthritis is a progressive problem. As you grow older, it gets worse. But if you can arrest it, control it, and you can be mobile without painkillers, with no side effects, and you can have no stiffness in your joints, and you can have no pain, you're comfortable. So it makes it manageable, and you can live like that for the next 15, 20 years, happily.
And on the other hand, when you are being bombarded with allopathic medicines, then everything is somewhere harming the body is what we are trying to say. Whatever medicine, goli jo andar ja rahi hai, wo kuch na kuch to kahin to lag rahi hai. That's what we say about allopathic medicine, right?
So I always say that for every pill, there's an ill. For every ill, there may be a pill, but with every pill, there's an ill.
But that's not the case with homeopathy.
Not the case with homeopathy. So what happens is you get something...
Is it because they are very tiny and small and cute?
That too, but it's in very minute doses, so that is also
true. It's very ulta in allopathic, Anything that is very small now, I'm very scared of. If ever a small thing comes in front of me, they are very scary medicines, I believe.
But that's why people call us candy doctors. Kids love it because it's sweet, it's easy to talk, it's easy to eat.
Let's talk about sweetness now.
It's always, all right.
So, by the virtue of it being sweet, how is it manageable in the long term? Keeping diabetes and all these things in mind?
It's very easy because you're only taking very small amounts. You're not taking anything which is going to harm you. Even diabetics can take it. And you can also take it with one drop of alcohol. You can also take it in distilled water. Like for example, like as I was telling you, UK, there are many pharmacies now. So for diabetics who are really severely diabetic, they'll make the homeopathic medicine in distilled water.
Okay.
So there's no alcohol, there's no sugar, there's no nothing.
Just take like water.
Yeah, it's just like drinking water, like how you're drinking your warm water. You just have a sip of that and that's it. That's the medicine.
But people would want to have those sugary tablets, because people I believe so.
The kids, yes, they love it. Like I said, that's why they call us candy doctors.
Candy
because,
doctors.
they love it. They come with, there's no injections, there's no pain. It's a fun outing for kids.
Yes.
It's like a picnic.
Yes. Picnic.
Yeah.
You were so destined to be a doctor. I can't believe your birthday is 1st of July, Doctor's Day.
Doctor's Day, that's correct. Yes.
Amazing. This is amazing.
I told you everything.
Did you influence somebody to make Doctor's Day on 1st?
I told you everything in my life has happened by accident.
Wow.
And my birth is also accidental. The fact that I was born on 1st of July, it's an accident.
Yeah, like that. रुकावट के लिए खेद है. अगर आपको हमारा कंटेंट और कॉन्वर्सेशंस अच्छे लग रहे हैं तो प्लीज लाइक, सब्सक्राइब एंड शेयर करिए अपने फैमिली मेंबर्स और फ्रेंड्स के साथ. Thank you so much for watching. Okay, so I'm reading something here that you began your first clinic with just 20,000 and a loan of that had 36% interest on it. Who pays 36% interest?
This fool sitting across you. I did.
Talk to me about it.
I did. There's no choice. So I first started. So when I graduated, right, I then was not getting any job. Nobody was employing me.
But father had...
No, but I didn't want to sit with my father. I wanted to start my own practice. My father had a kind of practice. I wanted to be on my own, different, all that, Yeah, I mean, that is what young blood is all about.
Yeah.
So I wanted to break away, actually, in that sense. So I then went looking for a job and nobody would give me a job. And then ultimately one of my classmates, his father had a charitable clinic. So I went and met him and he said, no, I want somebody senior. I don't want to. I said, okay, at least keep me as an internee. So I can, help your senior doctor there.
Correct.
So I got a job over there for 150 rupees a month. So for that 150 rupees a month, I used to change 3 buses to go to place of work.
Wow.
And I had no other money at all. And then to earn 100 rupees, I used to go to a free clinic in Dharavi. I used to cross all those drains, I still remember, just to treat people free over there. I used to get 100 rupees. Once a week I used to go there. So I used to get 100 rupees a month from there. And then I used to get 100 rupees a month when I used to go to Kalba Devi in the bullion market. So I used to sit some old, kind of very old room with all broken chairs and table. And there was something called a Malwadi Sammelan and they had a free clinic over there and I was kind of the doctor in charge there.
Okay.
So I got 100 rupees from there. So then I got a princely sum of 350 rupees. Yeah. And I survived on that for some time. But it was very difficult. Of course, I had to just have 1 cup of coffee in the morning. I had to wash the dishes. I had to do all of that. Whatever life takes. And then I decided to start, have little money and start a clinic in a polyclinic.
You mean to say you did not take any single penny from your father after you became?
No.
You finished your education?
No.
Okay. Wow.
And then I wanted to be independent. Not that he didn't offer me. He was very kind. He wanted me to, help me out. But I said no. Now I must stand on my own. And so then I went to a polyclinic where a pediatrician was there. He's now become a very dear friend of mine. But that time he also said, I don't want a homeopath in my clinic. I only want an allopathic doctor, specialist. So I had to use influence of a pediatrician, very senior pediatrician who kind of lived in my building, and ask him, please put in a word. I promise him I'll pay his rent on time. And just started with that. And the same thing happened when I started my clinic in Harley Street. The Harley Street guy who owned it, he said, boss, we can't give you this clinic because we only have super specialists. If we don't want a homeopath, it'll bring our market value down.
Oh.
And then I said, okay. They said, no, my doctors here, we are super specialists. We charge £500 per consultation.
£500?
Yeah, at that time. I'm talking about 16 years ago. And I said, okay, maybe I'm exaggerating, but something like that. Then I said, okay, I'll charge $750. But I want a clinic over here. And
you said you will charge $750?
Yeah, I'll charge $750.
More than them?
Yeah.
Just wow, to show what them, confidence, sir.
Just to show them that homeopathy will work.
That you can. Then?
I got it. I got it for 16 years. I had a clinic in Harley Street.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had it. I ran it for so many years. And then COVID came and then we had to shut. And then that whole building went into redevelopment. So then we got the one opposite. So anyway, so to cut a long story short, I'm saying, so even to get a small place was a challenge.
Yeah.
And then ultimately in the same rental place, the doctor was in charge. He said, now my son is becoming a doctor and now I need this room. I said, fine, I will go away. So I then started looking for a place and I found a very small 175 square feet place in Chopati. and I had no money to build it. So I managed to get a bank loan from a private bank, but I wanted to computerize it. So I wanted to buy a computer for 1,75,000 at that time. And I remember it had a huge, dot matrix printer.
I know.
And every time I took a prescription, the whole building shook because it went tuck, 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 just because of one small belladonna that came out of the printer.
But you had fancy of tech, that's why?
Yeah, well, I actually worked with two scientists who were database people, and then I actually made a software. It was the first electronic medical software in the world, among the world, maybe the second one. There was one in Italy in a hospital. So now people are talking about digitalization and medical records. I did in 1982. And that time also people laughed at me and they said, what are you doing? Everybody was against me because I paid 1,75,000 for my computer.
Correct.
I had to borrow money from a bank and I had to hypothecate it. And then they said, 15,000 में उस टाइम MD डॉक्टर मिलते थे, 15,000 में चार्ट अकाउंट मिलता था. तो बोले आप तो पागल है, मशीन खरीद रहे हो. I said, no, that is the future, I'm going to do it. And as luck would have it, it went viral. At that time there was no virality.
Yeah.
But people
in
came
the real
from,
sense.
In the real, people came from hospitals to see it. People came from, the media came to see it, as they kind of branded it as the world's first electronic, digital homeopathy clinic in the world.
What did it do exactly?
So I created a software where you could get out of 78,000 permutations and combinations for a patient, you could get the right remedy at a press of a button. So what I did is I put all these theory books, those thick ones, into a software. As data.
Just the theory, not practical.
No, right now it is only theory. This is I'm talking about that time. Now it is practical. Now it's AI driven. Now it's machine learning. Now it's all changed. But that time to start with, it was like that. And then two software engineers helped me to create it.
Okay.
And that's how we started. So we had an electronic patient record. So we had a paperless office.
Wow.
In 1982.
Amazing.
So for that, I needed furniture. I needed to buy the place. I didn't have money, whatever it was, whatever little I had. And the bank would give me only against property. They would not even against property. They'll say, Homeopath to koi mera paisa वापस नहीं देगा.
But after so much of investment, what was the plan in your head? Because there is no, patients don't really pay so much for homeopathic medicines. So how were you thinking of recovering it as a cost?
There was zero plan. And I'm being honest with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's a podcast of honesty, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Like my Sindhi brain is doing the calculation ki
that's the
2 lakh ka investment niklega kab वापस, क्योंकि homeopathy का तो बहुत आज भी, if you see, homeopathic medicines are very reasonably priced.
Not any longer, but anyway, but now you get imported medicines which are expensive. You also get reasonably cheap medicines both ways.
Both ways, yeah.
So at that time, again, honestly, I was earning 25,000 rupees a month in my earlier clinic, which was my rental clinic, which was among the highest homeopathic doctor was earning.
I can imagine.
When I moved here, then I had to borrow money at 36%, which was the Bollywood rate at that time because the most unorganized business at that time. I had to borrow money from friends, well-wishers at 36% per annum, 3% per month. It took me 10 years to repay those loans. And from that day onwards, I promised that I'd always be debt-free, never borrow money from anybody. But that's how it was. And my break-even at that time was 60,000 rupees. So I have to earn 3 times as much.
To cover that.
And that time my son was just born, my elder son. And so to buy him a bottle of milk, I had to earn 61,000. And I was earning 25,000. So again, God was lucky.
Adventurous.
You see, the whole thing is you have to take risks in entrepreneurship in life, calculated risk, and you have to believe in yourself.
Correct.
कदम चूम लेती है मंजिल ही आकर अगर राही खुद अपनी हिम्मत ना हारे. So लगे रहो मुन्ना भाई, right? Like MBBS, you have to keep at it, not give up. So
I think that was the fire of the youth. You said, kar lenge.
Yeah, but the fire is still there.
Yeah, of course. I can see that.
I mean, you have to. I mean, otherwise, life is, it's not interesting.
Oh, yeah, it's not interesting.
So that kind of took me 10 years. And I managed to do it only because it spread like wildfire by word of mouth. कितना अच्छा डॉक्टर है, कितना टेक्निकल थिंग है, हमने कभी ऐसा कंप्यूटर नहीं देखा, कभी इतना अच्छा रिजल्ट नहीं आया, इतना मेडिकल आउटकम नहीं देखा.
So how it helped? Button, as you said, click of a button, your medicine...
you get a choice of the top 10
quick
medicines.
Quick choice. So you can then delegate it to other doctors also is what you're saying. Because brain park is gone.
That too, but also then that same physical thing used to take 2 days to do. You have to have pie charts, you have to make bars, you have to put it manually.
So it reduced the tact.
So it reduced that, number one. And number two is that it gave you the right result. So then what happened is it gave you the top, let's say 10 medicines.
And doctor can then exercise their
then you
brain.
take your thing and you say, no, I don't think this medicine is number one, but I think number two will do better for this Poonam because of this reason.
Wonderful.
And then that's how it worked. So then obviously you got better results as well.
It's called as data analytics, what we are talking
Exactly,
right now.
yeah.
You know, what
so this was data added in 1982.
Wow, wonderful. And that too implemented on people. It's not just theory or books, you were doing it.
So this was among the first kind of computers. I remember I used to call it, the green eye, because you had to have a green screen before it so that your eyes didn't get spoiled.
Ah, okay.
And it was such a huge thing, like it was not like how you get now, no laptop,
it would
no nothing.
be worth 1,75,000 rupees, I can imagine.
Heavyweight, actually heavyweight.
Yeah.
So that's
Needs
how it
to
was.
Look like.
But then, people, spread like wildfire, people kind of this thing. And then I did the same thing again. When I started seeing 325 patients a day, even in my Bombay clinic, I then said, I don't know whether people are getting well, not well, how many people I'm treating.
Yeah.
And it's all like a general practice. You know? I mean, everybody came for all kinds of problems, whether it's a cold, cough, flu, fever, diarrhea, also chronic problems, also cancers, also all kinds of problems.
Yeah.
So suddenly, after so many years, in 1996, I again gave up my practice totally. And I stopped seeing 325 patients and I said, no, I'm going to start specialty clinic. So for 1.5 years, I did research with an advertising agency called Lintas at that time.
Yeah.
And they kind of did research. That time I had 50,000 patients on my database in my computer. So we researched all those 50,000 patients. It took us 1.5 years.
Yeah.
We found out which are the diseases. So there were about 14 diseases in which we got more than 90% results.
Oh.
Which was kind of recorded.
Like such as?
So a lot of
Would you remember?
So arthritis, asthma, hair loss, psoriasis, vitiligo, white patches, things like this. Anxiety, like this. So these 14 diseases. So then I started what was called a super specialty clinic for the first time.
Okay.
So I said, no, people should come to me only to take a 1-year treatment, only for chronic problems. I'm not going to treat cold and cough. And I'm going to make sure that they get well.
Wow.
So that they have to continue my treatment for some time. And my practice fell from 325 patients a day to 2 patients a week.
Yes.
But I got peace of mind. I enjoyed my work. I was doing so much of research.
Sorry to cut you, but what about all the other patients who were otherwise
I gave them prescriptions. I said, take it on your own.
Just manage.
Yeah, and find another doctor. I'll recommend you to somebody else around the corner who's good.
Achha. And you will focus only on.
Yeah, and some of them, of course, converted. I mean, some of them who had chronic problems, they still continued my patients, but it was a totally different thing. So I'm saying,
what was going on in your mind when you thought of this?
Because I wanted to get quality work. I wanted to get job satisfaction. I didn't want to do something which I was doing mechanically.
Just doing it.
Ratta maar ke, tak. I've never done that. And I didn't want to.
And you did that for 82 se leke 96 tak.
Correct.
हो गया था.
For 14 years, बहुत हो गया. So 14 years means अभी बनवास का time आ गया.
Quality vanvas, I would say.
खत्म हो गया अभी. That on the contrary, I would say बनवास खत्म हो गया.
बनवास खत्म हो गया. Now a little bit of.
और अभी कोई अच्छा, now quality time has come. And I enjoyed that period.
So how did you plan the business then? Then
Nothing.
You converted all your clinics into specialty clinics.
That time I had only one clinic. I'm talking about, that time I only
96.
one. I had 2 clinics in there. Then I started Mauritius, then I started Bangalore. All in 96. So then I started that as a specialty clinic. And I had the twin model. So I had some, general patients who could, just pay 500 rupees and take 1 month's treatment. And then I had some chronic patients who would then take, so 70% of them were chronic and 30% of them was acute. And I balanced it like that. And then over a period of time, I just stopped it.
So please help me understand, if a chronic patient is there and religiously they take without losing hope or faith, ho nahi raha, but they are just believing in you.
Yeah.
For 1 year, they're taking the medication. So after 1 year, they see that it has been eradicated, or for sustenance, they still need to continue with medication.
So it depends on the problem, depends on the reaction of the patient. So somewhere they, they need to continue, then they continue, and somewhere they don't need to continue. So it really depends on the disease, depends on how the patient reacts, depends on how much treatment he needs. So some of them continue for many years because they want to maintain that level.
Correct.
And some of them are cured and they don't need to ever come back.
Oh.
I'm saying one of the biggest joys I get. I'm saying I met somebody very, very high in the judiciary, among the highest people, after I think 50 years. And he came and told me, when I was a law student, I used to come to your clinic and I had that such and such problem. And now it's been 50 years, I've never had that problem again. So that was the biggest joy that I get. So somebody who, you treated 50 years ago and then said that he's been healthy for 50 years. I mean, that's the kind of hallmark of a good professional. True. Not that we have patients forever and ever and ever.
So you don't believe in that philosophy?
I believe that the patient must be independent of the doctor.
Wow.
And
Sir.
the quicker,
You have to shake hands for
Thank you.
saying this.
yeah, and the quicker the doctor can make the patient independent,
Good.
the better it is for both of them, because then his reputation goes up, and people start talking about it, and everything in medicine is about word of mouth.
True. You can't
Because
advertise.
It's all about trust. It's all about word of mouth. And so the more people who are happier with you, the more they spread the word, and the better it is for you. The more and more new people come.
What's your view on what's happening in the heart industry today?
In one word, heartless.
Sure. हो क्या रहा है, like, you know, instead of the lifespan has gone up, of course. Average age used to be 30, 32 to now in India it is 69 average we are talking about. Quality of life has gone up, but then still
See, it's
quality of life, money is up, and we are spending a lot on medical.
Why? Why? Because our lifestyles are not changing. Our lifestyle today is worse than what we had earlier. Earlier we were in the farms, we used to work, there was physical work, we used to walk to go to our work. Okay. Today we are so comfortable. The chauffeur opens the car, the door, you sit there, you take a lift, you come up, you don't even walk up 3 stairs. I took an escalator to come over here, 3 floors. You know. So the lifestyle is such, and then the kind of food that we eat. Today a lot of the food that we eat has got chemicals in it.
Yeah.
You know. And then we've got a very bad diet. I'm saying we are always eating on the run. We've forgotten that whole thing of, you know, we all the
Cooking
time,
nice
I've seen
food.
families they're sitting but all the time on the mobile phone. You know, so they're not focusing, they're not doing mindful eating.
What is mindful eating?
So mindful eating is putting your mind into it and enjoying every bit and being grateful for what you have.
Oh, unseen scenario. I don't think.
I do it. I do it, and that's important because then that gives you very good gut health as well. Because as they say, everything is in the gut.
So you're saying
So then
sit on the dining table,
Sit on the
look at your food,
exactly. Say a prayer. Start with saying thankful to God, whatever it is.
keep the phone on
Keep the phone away.
aside, completely away.
Focus on your food. Chew your food at least 40 times. 32 teeth we
Sir,
have now.
कहाँ इतना time है? 40 times.
निकालना पड़ता
इतने सारे youngsters बैठे हुए हैं.
You
If I
have,
ask
to, you have to practice it.
okay.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're going to do, you know, take a sandwich on the run
And just
and going
gulp it
then
down.
you're not going to be healthy. And then the stress that we live in.
Yeah,
So
totally.
the life that we live, the competition that we have, we're worried about losing jobs, we're worried about not going up the ladder, social ladder.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, we are worried about whether my profile looks good on Instagram or not. You know, is it the left side, the right side?
True.
You know, what is better?
You know that, wow.
Of course I know.
You're very updated.
Of course I am. I have a grandson who's 19 years old.
Oh yeah, then
so
you would.
he made me start Instagram. So I don't do that left profile, right profile.
Yeah,
but I'm
yeah.
saying I know what it is, and I
Yeah.
treat so many patients who are like, you know, really, you know, top stars.
What
and things
kind of problems come your way nowadays? Like common problem,
for
common
me,
issue from patients.
For me, no problem. But as far as patients are concerned, there are all kinds of problems.
Highest degree is
Well, highest degree, people who are dying, people who have no hope of very complicated diseases.
How do you build that hope when you come across such patients?
Actually, I don't. You know, I believe we have to be honest with them so they can actually plan their lifespan. What happens in India is that we all do life planning, we do all of that, but nobody does death management.
Yeah, agree.
Okay.
We don't want to face that.
So the thing is it's not going to happen. But the only thing that is certain is death and taxes. You know that.
Don't remind of taxes.
So both of us have to do it, right? Now September is coming, and I know how much I know how much we have to pay. You know, so there's nothing. So it's only
You
death
work
and taxes.
so hard, and then you get your car into that pothole, and then you remember that you have to pay.
So that's how it is. So that's the only certainty. But so death is a certainty, but we just put it under the carpet.
Help me understand death management from your point of view.
So death by being aware that everything in life is impervious. It's never going to be there forever. Okay. Therefore, you have to live life for the moment. You know that nothing's going to be forever, and therefore, you know, when I'm talking about death management, I mean writing a will. Like I wrote a will when I was say 30 years old.
Okay.
That doesn't mean that I'm going to die.
Yeah.
But people think, oh, it's negative. अगर मैंने अपने will कर दिया तो मैं मर जाऊंगा.
वो नहीं मरेंगे.
सब मरते हैं.
सब मरेंगे.
Ultimately तो सब मरते हैं ना. But that's how it is.
Oh, wow.
So that's the first part. Because then what happens, you don't want family fights, you don't want people to fight over properties, over money. So it's very good that you can, record it well, do a good job.
Wonderful.
Right? That's number one. Number two is you always keep not a diary, but a book of all your bank accounts, all the assets that you have. Like
Ready.
even where are the keys lying? Okay, after you suddenly die, then your children won't know where to look for it.
Correct.
And then they find after 1 year, 2 years, some share set will lying somewhere else. So you kind of log everything. So all the paintings that I acquire, because I do buy art, everything with the valuation is written. नहीं तो मेरे बेटा तो सोचेगा कोई ये तो कचरा इसको फेंक दो. And it may be
MF Hussain निकलेगा.
Yeah, and maybe really, it can be MF. Yeah, incidentally, MF Hussain painted my ceiling in my clinic.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So my doctor still sit under a Hussain ceiling.
Wow.
Yeah. So but I'm saying, so that's what I mean by death management. Being, planning it well for the next generation, so there are no surprises. I mean, why trouble them?
Correct.
Yeah. Just make it easy. As it is, they are grieving.
Why do you say so? They are getting so much from you.
No, they're going to grieve when you pass away, because people haven't got over this concept of, especially in the Indian philosophy, even though we talk about karma, we talk about reincarnation, but death is a very painful thing. And I've seen people, because I've held people's hand when they are dying, when their family members are dying, when they are dying. It's very traumatic for people.
Yeah.
And of course, time is a big healer. So ultimately, I've seen people who really, really felt very bad. Then after a few years, they go back to normal. But still that, little bit of part of your soul,
it's gone off.
It dies.
Yeah, it dies.
So it's not a very happy thing to talk about. So let's talk about something happier.
No, but I am very happy to talk about it, because that's the most important thing. I think the acceptance of that is
very important.
And when it comes to medicine and cure, it is nothing but living the life that is today. Like right now, I have no pain in my body is my happiness.
Correct.
So if this is my vehicle, if this body is my vehicle and I have to live my life with this body and this mind, then mind needs to be perfect and body needs to be equally
in tune.
In tune. I mean, I should be able to use this vehicle. If meri gaadi nahi chal rahi, then what's the point of having that car?
Yeah, and I see it. I mean, I travel so much all over the world.
Yeah.
And I see that old people are now started traveling, and they're all on wheelchairs. So what are they enjoying life? So there's no point in...
How do we live life? Touch wood, really. I saw you walking and all touch wood. Okay, on camera. On camera. You walked so well. There's so much of charm on your face. And you want to tell everyone, how old are you?
I'm going to be 75 soon. I've crossed 74. But don't let all the pretty girls know, please.
Now they know.
I mean, that's terrible. I mean,
and
that's not fair.
Of course they know.
That's not fair. But talking about...
But they have to see. I think younger guys would not have the energy that you have. I saw you walking and there is no assistance. You walk like fire.
But I just want to tell you that I do photography for charity. And I walked up Machu Picchu 3.5 hours just to take that one photograph on top of Machu Picchu.
When was that?
Last year.
Oh, wow.
So I was one of the oldest guys. I think when that time I was 73, 72. I climbed 3.5 hours with my cameras.
You are not afraid that you're going to slip, break your bone?
There's nothing. They're all rocks over there. There's nothing. There's no stairs, nothing.
It's one of the difficult...
Yeah, it's okay. I did it. And I came down 3.5 hours, because when you stand there, what do? You can't live over there. You have to come down again. Whatever goes up comes down. So I came down. Last month, I've just come from the North Pole. I visited Svalbard. My next photo exhibition next week is about North Pole. So I've shot polar bears there. I've shot sea walruses.
Amazing.
I was in minus 11 degrees temperature.
North Pole, I am not able to.
I'm carrying again 40 kilograms of my lenses, traveling all alone.
You are not going with people?
I mean, there was a group of other people, but none of them are my friends or anything.
Okay.
So I travel alone, because nobody likes to come with a photographer, because it's very boring. Because subah 3 baje utke sunrise kaun uthega to take it. Then you keep waiting for that one shot.
Nobody
and then you don't get that shot. So then so I travel alone. For my photography, I do alone. So I did that, and I remember first day actually. So there are hardly anybody. There are only 2 hotels over there, and there are about 2,000 people living there totally. And
feels so different now when you are an Indian and then you go to a place where hardly you see human beings. This happened to me in South Africa recently. I visited, and after 7, there's nobody on the road.
Nobody's out. Yeah.
I was so scary. inside the car. Though there are other stories of South Africa, but then still it was difficult to find human beings.
So there was one small hotel over there where Tom Cruise stayed for 2 months when he was shooting Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
So that has made this a little bit this thing. But you know that nobody, you cannot be born in Svalbard and you cannot die in Svalbard. Because the law says that if you're pregnant and you're going to deliver, you have to go back to Norway to deliver. Because they don't
because you can't get citizenship.
No, you can get permanent. There's no visa required. You can live there forever.
Okay.
And they don't allow you to die, because if you die there, they stopped people dying since 1980 or something, because there's something called thermofrost. So the whole body gets mummified, and then they don't have any place for burial.
Yeah. So please don't die here.
So please don't die. If you're dying, you need treatment, go back to Norway. Go off to the nearest country. So I was telling you, so the first night, I just opened my door and I'm stepping out and there was a blizzard. You know how you see in the movies? -11 degrees, heavy rain, heavy snow, and my cameras and I both would fly.
Of course.
So I had to immediately shut the door. Then there was a bus parked over there at the end of the road, and we had to get into the bus to go somewhere else. You know what we had to do?
Yeah.
We had to hold hands and make a chain
to reach
so that we don't fly away. So all that I did, and that is now my photo exhibition at Bajaj next week.
Wow,
which is now ready. And I do that for blind children. So all my work, entirely the money, I frame it at my cost, I print it, and whatever people donate, they donate directly to the Victoria School for the Blind.
Oh, wonderful.
And I've been doing this for the last many, many years. And I'm not a trained photographer. So again, it's just a passion. And I've had 2 international exhibitions. I was invited by the Prime Minister of Western Australia. I've shot 16,000 wildflowers for them. And I had an exhibition. I gave all the money to Red Cross because they had bushfires at that time. Then I was invited by the, by the Dubai government, Arts and Culture.
Yes.
I had an international exhibition over there for 3 weeks, sponsored by Nikon and sponsored by the Dubai government.
Wonderful.
And then I had a very interesting, contest where people from Dubai, they could take pictures and then match my photographs.
Oh.
And then we had a joint exhibition. So young people with their mobile phones, they could take a picture.
And which photographs? Like of a particular location?
My photographs of Dubai.
Okay. Oh, your photographs of Dubai. Oh,
yeah.
wow.
So they had to match it, and the Sheikh came to inaugurate it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I would love to look at them.
And now somewhere, I don't know. I don't keep a record of all of that.
Yeah,
but like I said, I live for the moment, so I'm just happy to do it. And then it's next year's nest.
So now that quickly we were talking about the tech part. So Tele, Homeopathy and gene-targeted homeopathy were ahead of their time, and you also spoke about this thing. So what made you think like a tech entrepreneur before health tech? And I want to focus on this one number which is very interesting for me. Your Tele Homeopathy had 450,000 consultations when it was launched. You continue to do that?
No.
So help me understand, if somebody is right now in Chennai and they want you, how would they?
No. So we have a virtual model. We have a virtual clinic, which is actually in certain cities, certain countries. We have it in Malaysia, we have it in Thailand, we have it in London.
India?
And India limited, because we have physical clinics everywhere. We are in 150 cities in India. So we're almost everywhere. So there we don't have it because we prefer people to come personally and physically.
Yeah.
But this again started as a backstory. Shekhar Kapoor, who was a believer in homeopathy and who was on his honeymoon, and I had just opened my clinic in Mauritius.
Okay.
So I was flying with him in on the flight, and he was sitting next to me. So he just told me that, what are you doing? You're a homeopath. Why don't you get into the internet? So that time he and Shami Kapoor were the 2 proponents of internet.
Okay.
And Shami Kapoor was called Yahoo.com.
Yeah.
Because of his Yahoo, songs and all that, right? So he said, and by chance we were staying in the same hotel, and next morning we were sitting next to each other on the breakfast table.
Okay.
So again he told me, Dr. Saab, I told you on the flight. But I said, I don't know what is internet. I'm not at all savvy. I can't do it. He said, I'm telling you, get into it. You're you're somebody before your time. I know what you're doing. I've not met you, but I've read about you, and I'm telling you that you please do this. And don't get worried and just do it. So I said, okay, let me see. So I went back, and then there was a friend of mine who was some big guy in Times of India. His son was a young guy, and he was a tech guy in Singapore. So I got hold of him. I said, boss, मेरे को internet website बनाने का है और मेरे को internet में practice करने का है, क्या कर सकता है? So he took 6 months. He made a model.
Okay.
Now at that time, internet you could not charge. So there was no e-commerce on internet.
Yeah.
You could only give free service.
What year would be this tentatively? This is must be before 82.
No, must be 92, 97, 98. Must
around
be
that time when you were.
Yeah, because 96 I started.
You had time to travel. Now we know. After 96.
I was seeing my clinic. I was seeing hundreds of patients in Mauritius. I had a clinic over there.
Before 96.
No, after 96. I started in 96.
Oh, then you went international is what you're saying.
Yeah, I went international in 96.
Got it.
When I started Bangalore and Mauritius simultaneously. And then I would fly to Mauritius and see patients over there. And then I would go every month, and then I would go once in 3 months.
Correct.
And so patients would, sit on the floor for like till 3 o'clock in the morning. I used to see patients.
Oh my God.
Because they were waiting for me to come.
Yeah.
So those were the days. And now
Those
I'm
were
sitting
the
and
days.
chatting with you happily.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, so this was, so therefore what happened was that then I started giving free consultation to people on the internet because I couldn't charge. Again, I said accidental. And then in 1 year, I saw 475,000 patients in a year from all over the world. And that became a world record.
Yeah.
So then I was put in the Limca Book of World Records. They approached me and they said, can we please carry this? Because, I said, yeah, sure. And then next year again, I saw 475,000 patients. So again, for 2 years, continuously, I created a world record for the highest number of patients seen on the internet.
Oh, sir. Congratulations. This is something phenomenal. This is a huge number.
And then many, many years later, then I think after 4-5 years, the government opened it and allowed commerce on it.
Yeah.
So then we started using credit cards, and then a payment model started. And then I requested my friend Sunil Gavaskar to kind of inaugurate it. So then we had, few years later, we had, then kind of e-commerce starting on the internet.
E-com started.
Which also at that time, there was no e-commerce model at all.
Correct.
So again, we were
seem to be ahead of time for everything.
Yeah, but every time you're ahead of time, you have to pay for it.
Yes. A little larger money.
I always say that, it's in management, you study that. So in management, there's a first mover advantage. I always say it's a first mover disadvantage.
Little bit disadvantage.
No, it is, because others just follow the path. You struggle, you do everything else, and others just copy you and then get in. So,
after 5 decades in medicine, what still surprises you more, the complexity of diseases or resilience of patients?
Resilience of patients. Because the human being is so strong, and you don't realize it unless you're pushed in a corner. When you're really pushed against all odds, that's when all your energy comes out. It's like you're in a corner where you can't fight back.
That's also the tipping point when people give up?
No, that's the tipping point when they find that last source of energy in them.
And they use it.
And to use it to fight back. And I've seen so many people who are actually on their deathbed, but because they have the will to fight, they actually recover. And then there are people who have no will to fight. They just give up. Then they are gone.
I see in the book also, I think this book is amazing. I want to show it on the camera also. Feel Good, Heal Good this is not just a book for, I don't think anybody should think of this as a doctor book. It's a great life book for somebody to understand how, and I really like the way that you have written feel good to heal good. So if you're looking at healing, then first change your vibrations is what you're trying to say.
Correct.
Mindset and vibrations.
Correct. Perfect.
So I have some myths quickly, and
so I'll just say one comment on this book. So again, I was the first Indian author to launch this book at the Cannes Film Festival last year.
Yeah.
And all the international stars, not all, but I would say a lot of them have a copy of my book, and they all loved it.
No,
because Hollywood has a lot of stress and the kind of timelines they have and the pressures that they deal with and the personal lives that they have.
Yeah.
So they all said, it's so lovely and they're so happy to read it.
No, I was also very happy to read it, and I started making some notes also, as you can see.
Yeah, wonderful.
So that's how I read my books. It's almost like.
Yeah, you marked it and all, which is lovely.
I mark. Reason being, when I will have a thought and I want to go back to this book, then it should be like ready. 19th page pe, I have made my markings. That's how I do it. So I have, sir, quickly, some myths that you can debunk. Now that I have the pleasure of sitting with you, it should come from the horse's mouth, right? So quick answers from you on this. How is homeopathy supposed to work?
So it's very, very similar to the vaccine therapy. Just like how when you take vaccine, you introduce something in the body and the body reacts to build natural immunity against it.
Correct.
That's exactly how homeopathy works. It's again something, it's a system of medicine which is based on the vaccine therapy of likes cure likes, which was again 250 years before its time.
Does homeopathy actually work, or is it just a placebo? Sorry to ask you this, but this is most researched question on the internet.
Okay, but it's not a placebo. Because there's so much clinical trials which have been done. There have been double-blind trials done for so many disorders all over the world. We have actually measured clinical outcomes where when you come to us as a patient for most of the disease, not for all of them, you'll get a scientific analysis and a printout at the end of it, which will kind of tell you how you have improved and how have you scientifically improved and how all your pathological and medical markers have improved. So everything is scientifically monitored. So it's nothing is vague. And all of this is accepted by traditional medical doctor MDs over there.
Is homeopathy safe, or are there hidden side effects?
So the belief is it's 100% safe. And that's actually true. It's true because you take it in very small doses, because it's not chemical medicine.
Correct.
So it has no side effects. Now, having said that, people should not self-treat themselves for chronic problems, because there are some medicines in homeopathy which are deep acting, and you can then start what is called proving them. So suddenly your moods may change, which you don't realize. Suddenly you may start crying, without any reason. So people are not aware of it. So always for chronic problems, always take professional advice.
Professional advice. Why do some people say homeopathy is just sugar pills?
I think they love candy, that's it. But like I've already answered that question earlier, saying that it can be used in other forms as well.
Is it true that homeopathy is too slow to act compared to allopathy?
Answer that question already.
You have. Can homeopathy be taken alongside conventional medicines, or do you need to stop one to start the other?
Okay, good question. And it can be taken together. And this is a myth really, because what happens, a lot of the people who come to us, they are on long-term treatment with long-term disorders.
Correct.
For their problems. Now, if they suddenly stop their treatment, they will collapse because they are dependent.
Correct.
So they have to taper it down gradually. So for some time, you have to take both, and then you can taper it down, and then you can stop it.
So you are helping people to understand how that tapering has to be done when they come to you?
Of course, the doctor tells you how to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What foods or habits should be avoided while taking homeopathic remedies like coffee, onion, garlic, or mint?
Nothing at all. That's a myth again.
It's a myth.
It's a myth because homeopathic medicines act best through nerve endings. So the best way to take homeopathic medicine is under your tongue, because that is the maximum nerve endings.
Correct.
And that is why anything which is which is stimulant or a depressant may affect the action of homeopathic medicines. So that's why they used to say, don't take coffee, don't take garlic, don't take onion, because it's smell in the mouth.
Yeah.
But as long as you take the medicine half an hour away, either way,
fine.
Away from meals, there's no problem.
Okay. Can homeopathy replace surgery, vaccines, or emergency treatments?
So vaccines to some extent, not, but it's a public issue. So I always recommend that people should take vaccines.
Yeah.
But in some cases, like for example, there was viral encephalitis in Andhra Pradesh many years ago. Lots of kids died of what was called brain fever. And they used a simple homeopathic medicine called belladonna, which kind of not only cured them, but actually prevented it. Similarly, even during COVID, we distributed 2 crore medicines free of charge, homeopathic medicines, through my company. Totally free. We gave it to the entire Maharashtra police force and their families. And we gave it to lots of Rotary clubs and charitable institutions at that time. And it was kind of clinically found that particular medicine, arsenic alb, which was given at that time, actually clinically worked. And the Gujarat government also gave it free. So, so there are cases where it can work, certainly. But I don't recommend
medicine.
But I don't recommend that it should replace vaccines which are actually clinically proven.
Sure. Why do homeopaths ask so many detailed questions about emotions, lifestyle, and personality before prescribing? I think you would want to answer this.
Well, because we are treating you as the person. We're not treating the disease.
Wow.
So to understand the disease, we all know. We know the symptoms. We know that it is this. We know it's palpitation. We know it's anxiety. We know it's sweating. We know all of that. But why? So we now want to see the why behind the face. We want to say that, yes, you're smiling, but there's something sad about you. Because there's something sad in your eyes. So obviously I'll ask you, what is the sadness that you had? Have you had somebody passed away? Have you had some trauma in your life? Have you had all that? And then I will give you a prescription.
Correct.
So the more questions I ask you and the more you answer them honestly, and the better rapport you have with the homeopathic doctor, the better chances are there of you to get the medicine. The right medicine.
Correct. Which types of diseases or conditions respond best to homeopathy, and where should patients not rely on it?
So for emergencies, they should not rely on it. Heart attacks and things like that. So wherever it is clinically proved and, working better. But otherwise, in all other cases, homeopathy is very good. And I've already answered that question earlier, for things like hair loss, skin problems, psoriasis, asthma, allergies, psychosomatic problems. So homeopathy is very good.
Psychosomatic also?
Very much so. More than anything else. Because it's mind-body medicine.
I want to spend just 5 minutes with you on everything that I see you wearing.
My jacket.
Is it something? No.
My jacket.
Inside the jacket, I can see some. I can see Osho. I can see
some mother mala.
Yes.
This mala is not a woman's name.
I know that. So has this spirituality kicked in now, or it was always there?
I think I've been blessed. And because I've been blessed, I think I've achieved whatever I've achieved in life. It's only because of the blessings of all my gurus. I'm totally open. I mean, while I'm a doctor, I'm not a religious person. I never say prayers, but I'm very spiritual. I always believe that you must do good to people and that goodness always comes back to you. So right from the time when I was young, Swami Chinmayananda used to drive, when I was like after 19, 20 years old. He was my family guru. He got me married in the Powai temple when it just opened. And I also treated him partly. Then there was some Swami who used to live in some forest somewhere in Karnataka. He had some problem. And that time I used to write a column for Illustrated Weekly of India. And that time we had these postcards, with reply plate postcards for 10 paisa. So people used to send me thousands of postcards from my writings in Illustrated Weekly every week. And in the reply pay, I used to write a prescription and post it back to them free of charge. So there's another guy who had this Swamiji from somewhere, I don't know, it's called BR Hills, I remember the place, in Karnataka. And then he wrote back saying, "Aapne mere ko theek kar diya, and God bless you."
Wow.
So I think I've had the blessings of, then I did Abhishek for Sai Babas, because I did a free camp for them. So people thought I was sent by Sai Baba, and about 700 people stood in line so that they could get healed.
Wow.
So I was invited by the trust over there. So that was another blessing. And then Manoj Kumar was a patient and friend of mine, almost like a brother. And then he was my patient. And then so he's one day said, "Ki aap sab chhod ke aa jao. You have to come here when I'm calling you." I said, "Mere hardly 2 patient aate hain din mein. Abhi to maine practice shuru kari hai." 1975. He said, "Nahi, tum chhod ke aa jao." So I drove from Malabar Hill to Andheri, where his ashram was. And I got not a single red light on the way.
Wow.
And then I got to meet Satya Sai Baba.
Wow.
And then he hugged me and he kissed me and he held my hand, and I've never experienced that ever in my life. And then he told me कि आप जिसको हाथ लगाओगे वो ठीक हो जाएगा. Go. You are blessed. And really after that my life changed. So I think, and now I've got, of course, now I've become a Swami. Swami Anand Sangeetam.
Oh, you have taken Diksha now.
I have taken Diksha, but it's called Neo Sannyas. So I don't have to give up anything. So don't get any wrong ideas.
No.
I can do whatever I like.
Yeah.
But anyway, I have a very disciplined life. I don't smoke, drink, nothing. So I've now become a Swami, and with the Osho commune, and they call me Swamiji. And my new name, it has been given to me by them because they changed their name as well.
Yeah.
Is Swami Anand Sangeetam. So
you got it.
So Anand for happiness and Sangeetam because I sing.
So we have to end this podcast.
So
Good you said
so
this.
No, so that is how it is. So yeah, so that is it. And then the Mahant Swami, the big Swami, he called me once during COVID or some problem, and then I said, and he's a big believer in homeopathy. And then I told him that I'll help you and all that. And then he called me and saying, "Aapki dawai mujhe lagi nahi, I'm getting some reaction, whatever." I said, "No, you reduce it, try it again." Again he called me after. He said, "No, I have to apologize to you." I said, "Why, sir?" "Swamiji." He said, "No, because without telling you, you worked so hard on my case and I've stopped taking your medicine."
Oh.
I've never felt so humbled ever. I mean, a person of his stature to do that,
back.
to call back and to say that I'm not taking your medicine, I'm so sorry because, it didn't suit me. And to actually apologize for it and say, that you worked so hard on my case and I didn't, help myself to get healed. I fell flat for him. From that day onwards, I became his devotee. And I said, "Swamiji, I will come and meet you." And then I realized that he's a believer in homeopathy. He started reading all my books. He's got all my books of homeopathy. And every time now on my birthday, 1st July, he's now 92 years old.
Wow.
I think last few weeks ago, it was his birthday. 92 years old. He sends me a voice message to bless me. 2 years ago, he sent me a handwritten card, which is the only handwritten card he must have written for years. To Dr Mukesh Batra ji, blessings and all that. And he sent me prasad from Ahmedabad.
Wow.
So I'm blessed. And so with those blessings, I lead my life. And I get this inner peace. So when I wear this, I don't wear it all the time. I wear it when I'm out. At home, I take them off. But I feel very blessed. And with this, I get a lot of inner peace. And I get a lot of happiness from within. And I believe that I can spread that happiness to other people.
Sure.
So from the time I've actually got this Swami thing without a robe, I actually believe that people who actually come for blessings and people who actually want, a good vibe across the table, they actually benefit from it. And it can actually change their life. More than that, you feel very peaceful. And what is important is that, I actually believe that, there are Atmas which are roaming around us. And so if these are good Atmas, they actually guide you to be peaceful. And then they guide people around you. So if you're in a company of thieves and murderers and all that, you'll get bad vibes. If you're in the company of good people, you'll always benefit from those vibes.
I have a follow-up question. So if you are put in the company of bad people, and you know, because your Atma is speaking to you, you feel discomfort, then?
So you try and change them if you
Change
can.
them?
Yeah. Which happens also sometimes, but a lot of time it doesn't happen because they're set in their ways.
Yeah.
If it happens, good. If it doesn't happen, it's okay. You tried your best. That's all.
Or you change your environment, is what you're saying.
Yeah, of course. You have to encircle yourself.
Find your tribe.
Yeah. You have to find your tribe and be happy with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel so blessed to be talking to you.
No, thank you very much. I'll now end with 2 lines of what you said.
Yes, Raga.
So it's a Raga. I don't know,
You have a Raga and
Namo
everybody, sir, has a beautiful Instagram page also where you will get to see him singing.
Wow.
And please talk to my audience about आपका जो yearly होता है, which you do for elderly people.
I sing once in a year old songs, which is Mohammad Rafi, Manna Dev. I have my own orchestra of 15 people, live orchestra. I sing for about 2.5 hours at YB Chavan Auditorium. And I sing it to collect money for an old age home, an old widows home, which I've been supporting for many years. So the widows come over there, they dance in the aisles, they love it.
Wow.
And it also keeps me happy. So that's the annual concert that I have. But for that, then I work very hard. Because I always believe that if you really want to grow, then 2 things are there. Because people ask me often that how do you find time for all this?
Correct.
I always believe that you'll always find time for something that you love.
Correct.
And people who say, I don't have time, then you don't love it enough.
Yes.
Right? Otherwise you don't love it enough, right? So I'm saying I found time to come over here from so far.
Yes.
Because I said, no, I must meet you and I must, do this show. And
I am honored.
No, true. So that is how it is. So if I did not have that love for you or for your podcast,
yes,
I would not be here.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So passion is very important. And because you work with passion, the second thing is if you put passion with purpose, then it is Sone Pe Suhana.
Yes.
Because then what I do is my photography I have to improve because I have to get better pictures so that the blind children can be helped.
Correct.
I have to sing better. I mean, I've moved my singing from where I was to where it is now.
I have heard you. आज सुबह से आपके कितने गाने सुने मजा आ गया सर.
Over the years,
I was thinking कि हम चालो ही podcast गाने से करेंगे.
I was totally besura and then like a
बिल्कुल
bathroom
सुर
singer.
है अभी.
No, totally besura. But I had the guts to go on stage and said,
yeah,
नहीं मैं तो गाऊंगा यादों की बार. So that's how it is. So I think if you have purpose behind it, then you keep improving.
True.
Okay. So the 2 lines that I want to hum for your audience and for you as well, especially,
please,
is the wish that I have for the entire world.
Please.
Okay. And this is Kishore Kumar's old song.
Wow.
आ चल के तुझे मैं लेके चलूं एक ऐसे गगन के तले जहाँ गम भी न हो आंसू भी न हो बस प्यार ही प्यार पले एक ऐसे गगन के तले एक ऐसे गगन के तले एक ऐसे गगन के तले. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Dhanyawad. Thank you.
Thank you. I am so honored. Thank you so much.
Most welcome. Thank you.